Hey crafty friends, this is Nye with All Things Were Created. Today we are going to go through the assembly of our Snowman with Cardinal winter wreath. I will be using my art glitter glue for all of my gluing, and I also have some twine and my scissors and my hot glue gun off camera. I may add just a little bit of a hook at the back with the twine to hang it up, but I haven't fully decided yet if I'm going to do that, but we'll see. So first things first, let's get started gluing. So I have all of my pieces, they are cut out and they are lined up. If you noticed when you were cutting, the two pieces of the Cardinal's beak, they are so super tiny. And so I have my two pieces right here on top of my snowman where I can see it because they are orange and he is white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my Cardinal over here, and I'm going to just go ahead and take my glue and add a little bit of glue right here onto this beak. These two pieces are so small that I'm actually going to just do them first to make sure that I don't lose them here as I'm crafting. And so I'm just using my push pin that I use to clog my glue here when I'm not using it. I'm just using my push pin here, and I'm using that to just pick up these two smaller pieces and just put them in place. And so what you can see is that there they are. And you can see my glue that's seeping out. That's okay because my glue is going to dry clear and it won't show up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to finish gluing the section of the Cardinal here onto, or his wing, onto his body. And so I'm just going to add that right here, place it on top, and there we go. And so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of glue some of these down in pieces and sections and work my way down because there are so many different layers to this wreath here. So I'm going to start with the carrot nose. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back here and line up that tip right with the tip of the white on the snowman. And oh, phew, I thought the eye was right underneath. And so I'm going to now do this part of the eye. And it looks like this part did not push out all the way through. So I'm just using my push pin again here. And there it goes. So the eye is probably actually going to go, let's see, this way. Yeah. I don't know if I like it with the two little dots there of the eye, but we'll see. Maybe I'll change that for you guys when I give you the file. So I'm just going to put one eye there. I'm going to do this next one here and just push out the little black dot, the second one that it cut, but it didn't come out when I pulled it off my mat. And there it goes. All right, so it goes this way. Let me add my glue to the back. And so I will say that if you had decided and you sized down this craft, that's okay if you sized it down, but you may have found that the beaks of the Cardinal and these eyes may have been a bit more difficult to cut. What you can do is you can use some Sharpie for the eyes on the snowman, or you can use some paint for the beaks of the Cardinal and just kind of paint them on there. You don't have to worry if it doesn't cut. So if you sized it down, like, I don't know what size you may have sized it to, but if you made it smaller than what the file is when you opened it, that's okay. You just may have to adapt and get a little creative in how you want to add the beak and the eyes. The buttons and everything else should probably be fine. But again, if it's not, just draw it on with a Sharpie or use a paintbrush and some acrylic paint and just paint it right on. It will work just as fine. So I'm using my fingers here to line up these grooves of the scarf, and then I'm just putting them down. Now, same thing with the buttons here. I may have to move this up. I'm not sure if it's all fitting in the screen of the video here. But the same thing here with these buttons. You can tell that these are little off circles. They're not a perfect circle. They're more of an oval that have the buttons. So you just eyeball where along the middle you think his belly is. I'm going to tilt mine just a little since I'm going to say that he's kind of sitting on a little bit of an angle here. And let me see if I want it this way. Nope, that was the way. So again, I'm just adding the glue to the back here of his button, and I'm just spacing it down a little in there. And now for his socks, let me move my twine out of the way. I just want to make sure that I'm still in the frame for you guys. I'm going to add his sock piece right there. And then for the other side, it's the same thing, just adding glue to the back. And then placing it right there and lining it up. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take this part of my snowman and add my cardinal right on top. So I'm just going to line it up first to make sure I kind of have an idea of the placement. I'm going to add my glue to the back. And I'm actually going to pick it up this time, so that way I can use my hands to get that placement just right. Okay, once I have it, then I can press it down, and that's good. I'm going to do the same thing here with the black, which is the next layer down. Just going to get the placement just right. And what I'm going to do now is, so I have these two layers, the black and the white of the snowman. I'm going to flip it over. Let me just make sure my placement is right. Okay. Get the bottom there too. My bird, the cardinal, is good. So I have it there. I've got it tight in my hand. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to use my hand to press it down. And I'm going to add the glue to the back here along the white. And so what I'm doing though is I'm pressing it down with my left hand. I'm adding my glue with my white. I'm adding it just about everywhere where I can see with this bend. I'm going to press it down there like that and hope that my alignment stayed just right. And remember, when gluing, you've got usually about 5 seconds to shift if you need to, and that looks good. And so I'm going to flip him the other way, and then I'm going to add glue to the bottom half here. And then I'll just press it down as well. So this is a bit of a harder craft because, as you can see, the body of the snowman is different from this upper part of the wreath. And I did it that way so that way we would be able to keep using our 12-inch by 12-inch cardstock, and that we didn't have to bump up to 12 by 24-inch, because I know not everybody has that as part of their stash. Okay, so I'm going to put my snowman off to the side. I'm going to work on this part of the banner. So I'm going to add my glue to the back of the letters here. And I'm just going to do it kind of quickly, going around. What you do want to make sure that you do is kind of get in a little bit between the letters. You want to do that because you don't want any of the letters to kind of come up from the back of the design. Let me add a little bit more there. Make sure I got all the little pieces a little bit here. That looks pretty good. And then again, I'm going to use my fingers to get the alignment of this just right. And then once I have it, just press it down. Okay. So I'm going to put this one off to the side. Ooh, I wanted to do this part of his hat first. I forgot that section. So I'm just lining everything back up. I'm going to put this right there. And I'm going to add the glue to the back. All right. And remember too, the great thing about the art glitter glue is that it dries clear. So if it seeps out a little bit, that's okay. It seeps out too much, you know, just take a paper towel, or you can use your push pen again and just scrape what may have come out to get rid of it. But it dries clear, so there shouldn't be any issues. Okay, so now I'm ready to just glue the bottom part of the wreath. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there another one? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers here. I'm going to work my way from the bottom to the top, just layering everything on top. And I'm going to speed up the video a little bit here because this is just going to be a lot of gluing the same thing. And then when I go to put the snowman on, I'll slow things back down, okay? Okay, so when you're starting to glue along this wreath part here, you're going to want to make sure that you're adding the glue along the lines of the wreath and really right down the center, because a lot of the leaves will hang off and you don't know exactly where it's going to hang off. I kind of shifted mine there. Okay, that's a little bit better. So you're just gonna kind of really want to make sure that you're sticking along the center part here of the wreath where the lines of the wreath are gonna be. I'm turning mine upside down just because it'll be a little easier for me to do this part. I'm gonna try to do the part of my snowman right here and the cardinal. Okay, I don't want to go all the way up towards the top. So I'm gonna stop probably a little bit early. And let me do the bird here. Okay. And then again, when you go to press everything down, just be gentle for like the first couple seconds. Get it lined up. Shift it if you need to. And then there, you'll be able to do it. Okay, so now for this next part here, I'm actually going to flip mine. So that way I only get it on the wreath part. So you might not be able to see it as much, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add, again, the glue right along this part of the wreath here. You can add a little bit to the leaves, but really don't kind of come all the way out to the tip of the leaf, because that's going to be hanging off the edge, and you don't want to have glue there. That's all really. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over and then just press it down. Just be gentle about it. Okay. And so now I'm ready to add the rest of my snowman. And so I'm going to just kind of line him up, make sure that he's in the right spot there. Make sure that the bird, my cardinal, is in the right spot. He looks good too. And okay, so I'll add the glue to the back. And again, try not to add glue to his legs, because some of that is going to be hanging off the edge and you won't need any glue there. So really just add it to his body and to the back of your cardinal. Add it to the tip of his nose. That was way more glue, I think, than I needed on that part. But it is what it is. Let me grab him this way. And I'm using the tip of my finger here to kind of meet the head of my snowman. And just using the edges of my fingers to line up with the edge there. And I'm going to press everything down. And there he goes. Oh, this is such a cute little fun project for the winter, especially because if you're not totally sold on decorating for Valentine's as soon as Christmas is over, this is just a fun project to add to some winter decor. Just add a little bit of glue to the back of the sign. And again, I'm using my fingers just to get it in that right spot. And there we go. And this finishes our gluing part. And it's adorable. I love it. And so if you want to add a little bit of a hook to the back for hanging purposes, so I'm going to use my twine here. I'm just going to add a really, really tiny one to the back. So, let me cut it there. This is probably about 5 inches, but I think that's bigger than what I want. So I'm actually going to maybe take off another inch here. Oh, there we go. That's probably good. So this is probably about 2.5 or 3 inches. And what I'm going to do is I don't want mine to be visible. I just want a little tiny hook at the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue gun. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to just join the two ends together there. I'm actually going to use my finger now to press it down and just to kind of hold it and join them right there. So you can see it's just a little bit of glue that's holding them together. And what I'm going to do is so I've got it this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit like right there to make it stay. So I'm adding a little bit more glue to my twine. And just kind of eyeballing where in the center I want it to be. And then I'm just going to press it down. And I'm using my finger again just to kind of get a little bit of that glue onto the upper part, but it didn't work, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more. right there. It just kind of helps to secure it and keep it safe. Plus, my finger's just helping the glue to dry. And so there it goes. So it's just a little hook. It's at the back. No one will be able to see it from the front, but I'll still be able to hang it on my wall. And so here he is. A little fun, easy winter craft for us, okay? So thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy. Happy crafting.